Oh, turned around.
Hmm?
I wonder what made it turned around. It came all the way over here and then it turned around.
Oh. Decided to go back before it gets lost. All right. This is a movie that Grandma and I hope to make for our children and grandchildren, hopefully our great-grandchildren. This is our third attempt. We keep forgetting to turn something on. So I actually have been through this a couple of times already. We still don't know what we're doing. But what we hope to do is introduce you to Alice's parents right now, and then later we'll do mine. We've got a collection of pictures laying here that we're going to hold up and talk about them so that you can kind of get to know a little bit about your grandparents. So I'll start with this one.
Now, this is probably my favorite picture of my dad, James Norman Johnson, and his son, Harold Arthur, my brother, older brother, and me, Alice Bernice Johnson. Looks like I was about 3 there, so that this must have been taken in 1935 or 34. And that's a tree on our farm. I don't know, it might have been a box elder. And my mom and dad, and that must have been taken about 1950. No, yeah, about 1950, I think. My dad died in, I think, 51, so I think he probably had lung cancer here. And that's probably why I insisted we have a picture of them, take a picture of them. And my mom's name was Hilma Julia Johnson, before and after she was married. There's Mom and Dad, and the first grandchild, Keith, my brother Harold's oldest son, and that's in front of our farmhouse again, facing west, and there's the wind charger on the left.
This is the same entrance.
Mm-hmm. I think we just showed that, didn't we?
No, I just showed the other one.
Uh-huh. These things up on the right-hand side, are they supposed to change?
No.
Oh, okay. And there's a gate. We had a fenced-in yard. I don't know what for, to keep out some things, I guess. There's a good picture of our house facing south. You can't see it very well. That's my dad
The
and
camera's
Keith
facing
again.
northwest. But that's the south side of the house,
Yeah,
right?
right. This is the south side
Yeah.
of the house. You can't really see the porch there. There was a kind of a porch upstairs and downstairs. We never used the upstairs one, though. I think my parents were afraid that it wouldn't hold. Somebody would fall from it.
And that's the barn behind your dad there.
Yeah, on the left.
He's standing out in a wheat field. You can see the wheat there.
Yeah, it's a good crop that year. And you can see the attic, what do you call those things?
Gables?
Or dormers or gables or something, yeah. We had a big attic there and a stairway going up to it, and we kids liked to play up there. And of course, it was used to store a lot of things.
And there's the wind charger.
Yep, that brought us.
They
made
were ahead of their time. Used some of the most modern things, like the grain elevator was one of the latest state-of-the-art kind of thing.
We should have that picture in that one book of all the buildings, and you can see the grain elevator. There's my dad and Mom at Christmas time in '49. And there's my sister-in-law, Dolores, opening a package, I think. And there's my mom giving Keith his first haircut. My mom could do most anything. Anyway, whether she could do it or not, she did it, including lancing her own tonsils during a tonsillitis.
I knew your mom briefly from a little bit before I knew you, because she was a cook at the Farmers Union camp where I was the dean of boys, and I thought she was a wonderful person. Very unassuming, quiet person, but with plenty of confidence.
She did what needed to be done. She even wallpapered our first little apartment, didn't she?
Oh, that's right. She helped us wallpaper.
That's my mom again holding Keith, and my Aunt Alice, Alice Johnson. I think I must have been named after her, and that's why I was called by my middle name, Bernice.
I bet your mom crocheted that thing on the couch there because she was crocheting one at the time she died. I remember at our house seeing the partly crocheted thing that you put on the chair.
Yeah, she made tablecloths and did a lot of crocheting. I don't think she knitted, but she did a lot of sewing. That's our barn, and it must have been painted red, the top part of it at that time. But it must have been repainted white because I don't remember it being red. And the sign Lakeview Farm was moved to the elevator later because I don't remember seeing that sign on it either. And you can see the little window on the side. A haymow was on top, of course, in the middle. And then there were two windows on each side. And the one on the right-hand side had an old, like a bedstead with an old mattress on it. And a couple times a year, I suppose spring and fall, some regular bums or hobos used to stop and help out with whatever farm work needed help with and get some meals and a place to sleep. We didn't want them to sleep in the house because they probably had bed bugs and lice and all kinds of vermin. And that's my dad when he was 14 or 15 years old. He kind of reminds me of Alex, that serious look. There wasn't a high school in Tallness, so he attended the agricultural college in Fargo to get his high school credits and I don't know, some kind of a degree, I suppose, in animal husbandry. And he used his knowledge in farming. I remember him testing the seed, mostly wheat, I think, in the winter to see which ones would sprout best, which ones to plant.
And now the camera has decided to go into its demonstration mode. I don't know what causes it to do that, but
Or do you think it's
I must
still...
have something set wrong. It's showing off a little now to show you all the different tricks it can do.
Is it still working though? I mean,
See the little thing is still counting down. So we've done 7.5 minutes, and now the camera is taking over and doing its thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's making us wide now. And here's some kind of
I can show my dad
comic
when
book
he's
mode.
grown up there.
Oh, maybe if we hold up a picture, it'll quit doing all this stuff. This is Norman when he's older.
When he's an adult, and then next to him, next to it, there is a picture of
I'm
Mom.
not doing the shaking, that's the camera.
That's my mom and Carol May at her graduation. It's the only one we have of my little sisters here in this showing. This came from a family history book that my Aunt Nita, my dad's sister, made.
Okay, I think we showed all the pictures. Did we get that one?
I don't know which time.
I think we did. I think we did all these.
Yeah, we did.
Anyway, this is just a sampling. We have many. So if you're interested, you can find those things in the memory bank. Now we're going to take a little break, and then we'll be back with my parents. That's all for now.
Okay, get out then.
Well, we want to look at it.
Oh. Like that.
Okay, now we're back. I've been out to the memory bank looking for pictures of my parents, and I found some. There's a lot more out there, but this is enough to introduce you to them. I don't have any pictures with me of my dad when he was really young. The earliest one I have here is this one, which is when I think he was about early 20s. Looks like he has some kind of a scar on his nose, but I think that may be just a flaw in the photograph.
Who are the others?
His mother on the right, and his sister May, and
Wow.
his younger brother Earl, known as Murphy.
Yeah.
His dad had passed away when Dad was about 16. And we have one picture of him which we'll include when we introduce the great-grandparents. Yeah. Here's another picture of my dad about the time that I was born, I would expect. Cleaning the barn. And that might have been at the barn up here in the hills, my Uncle Bernard's farm, where we moved when I was 3 years old. During the Depression, we lost our farm down on the flat, so this one is in the hills, and the attic in this house was where Alison and I had lots of our playhouses, as well as out in this sheep pasture behind the windmill. Uncle Bernard put up that windmill. I always thought it was a real tall windmill. It is so short, I can't believe it. We like to play in that rock pile behind the windmill. A stone barn used to be there, so there was a good supply of rocks for us to build playhouses. We outlined the floor plan with those rocks. Here's Mom and Dad with their 3 children. I think this was taken at about the same time as that last one. Dad has the same tie and coat on. And here he is again with that same tie and coat. Probably the only tie he had. They're at a thing at the church, funeral or a wedding or something. This one was taken by Sue when she was doing a photography class in school.
That's good of Grandpa, isn't it? Looks so much like him when he's
Happy person that everybody liked. Uncle Frank said about Dad, he would be whatever age the person he was with was. So it didn't matter if he was with a little kid or an old person or whoever, he could relate to them easily.
The Irishman.
Yeah, known as the Irishman. And here, he was in the hospital not too long before he died. I think he got better. He had leukemia. I think he was able to go after this to Sue's wedding, which was in August, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And then he died in November of that same year. This was March 12th, his birthday, which was celebrated in the hospital 110 years ago.
His birthday was 110 years ago.
Right.
Not that celebration.
No. And I think this picture of Mom was probably taken not too long after Dad died. So those are the pictures of my parents. My Marshall grandma and grandpa, and my Brotherton grandma and grandpa. My grandpa Brotherton, of course, I never knew because he died several years before I was born. And then up here are Grandma Marshall's parents, Alex and Eliza Stover McLean. And These are Grandpa Marshall's parents, Levi and Irena Pearson Marshall. And then that's Levi's mother, Mary Pickering. There we don't have a photograph of his father. Cameras probably weren't invented yet when his father passed away. And his mother was about 100 years old when that was taken. Then here we have another very old, this would be a great-great-grandmother of mine, Eunice Hastings, mother of Eliza McLean. And I believe that's all the photographs I have.
Was she old too?
Of
Eunice Hastings?
Yeah, she was also around 100 when she died. And then I have another page like this of your ancestors, which I will go and get while you're explaining who your ancestors are.
Well, my grandparents were all Johnsons. My mother's was a Johnson before she was married, and she married Norman Johnson.
And there we have you, if I ever get
There's
it.
Norman and Hilma. James Norman was always known as Norman. Don't know why. And Hilma.
And
then my dad's parents, L.O. Lars Olaf, called Ole, known as Ole, and Margaret Johnson. That's when they were probably young and just married or something.
there you are down there.
And my great-grandparents, Johns and Ingrid Olsen, lived in Sweden. Johns Olsen visited this country a few times, I think, and his idea was to help his sons get their farms going. He never owned a farm. He was a farmer, but he rented all that time. And so it was important to him for his sons to own their farms, which they did.
Now I'll move it if I can get it to that other one.
Okay, there's a
Your
picture of
mother's
my-
parents,
yeah.
her family.
Okay, Peter and Caroline Johnson. I think Caroline was known as Lena, and Pete Johnson, had a thick head of hair, curly hair. My grandma had thin hair, but it was also curly, wavy, small wavy. There's my mother with her curly hair, and the oldest boy, Mom's younger brother, Oscar Johnson.
They had other children later, didn't they?
Yeah, they had Leonard and Victor later. And let's see, that's my grandma, my dad's grandmother, Anne Midgarden, and her husband Nils Midgarden. And they lived in Sweden. Well, Anne Midgarden did come to this country. She died in this country, in fact. That's my grandma Margaret Johnson's parents. I don't have pictures of my mother's grandparents from Sweden. I have their names in genealogy charts.
So there you have that. And I think that concludes this production. So,
Okay.
if any of you have watched this and become interested in your ancestors and want to know more about them, all you need to do is go out to the memory bank here at Island Lake at Spooner, Wisconsin, and you will find much family history. I hope you enjoy it. The end.